welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am embarking on a new cityscape painting. So this one is sort of similar to this other one I did, where I told you the story about my first and only teaching experience. So I'm going to try to do a similar video and do some real life painting while I talk, and I will try to figure out something interesting to tell you. I was thinking I would just tell you about how I've gotten to where I am in my art career and how it's going. So we'll see how it goes. So first, a little history. These two paintings are from my Ukraine series. When the war in the Ukraine started, I felt like I needed to do some paintings about it. I had this series on display up at the University Art Gallery for Art Walk a couple of years ago, and they seemed to get fairly positive reactions, but I know the subject matter is dark, and I've also done a climate change series, so I paint in a fairly whimsical manner. I've still got my little birds here, and they look kind of happy. This is the other one I did where I told you the story of my brief teaching career. So I've got the clouds, sort of ominous and gray and rolling, and lots of bright color in the sky, and I'm loving using these extra marks in the sky in the background, giving it this texture and sort of extra depth. And here we've got the castle with the waves rushing into it, and the castle sort of trying to put out some signs and say stop, but the tide is just going to keep on coming. So I've sort of been working with this climate change idea for a while. This is another one I feel is in this series. I think I'm going to call it my catastrophic cityscape series with the so this has got this sort of the time, it's got a steampunk sort of theme to it. We've got the raven bat birds with their clocks in their bellies, and more cityscape mosaic styling, more of this texture in the background. We've got the birds, we've got this dramatic sky, we've got the volcano with the flames, because I did another painting with a volcano, and my younger son, my 8-year-old, said that if there's a volcano there should be flames. So by golly, I did another one here with flames. So anyways, this painting is in that series, and we've got a similar sort of castle going on here. Oh, I have to show you something else. I've been doing a series with this sort of wrecking ball idea, and there's actually 4 of them, and the tree is sort of anthropomorphically leaning over the cliff, and this is the last of the 4 where the roots are grabbing the wrecking ball and playing with it like a yo-yo, and it's all kind of gotten a bit happier. So in any case, here's the wrecking ball again. Actually, there's 3 of them, and there's little shapes cut out for them in this castle, which also has this spade shape. So in the back we have a mushroom cloud. So we've definitely got some ominous themes going on here, and we've got the waves, the rising tide, trying to get the castle, trying to bring it down. We've got the birds just flying by like nothing's going on, and yeah, that's where we're at. I think as an artist, it's my job to comment on things that I'm concerned about, and I don't know how well these paintings are going over. I feel like people like them, and some people are like, oh, this is your really good stuff. Because I do the light, whimsical, happy animal paintings. I do a lot of those, and they sell pretty well, although probably not for as much as I should be selling them for. But we got to get started somewhere. So let me start putting some color in here. Trying to figure out where to start. typically with these cityscapes, I like to just start with the mosaic, because it's pretty easy. I've done enough of them that I can kind of paint and talk. So I'm trying to do that. I had a couple requests for a similar video like the one where I talked about my teaching experience, so I'm trying to see what else I can tell you folks about. I thought I would tell you about how I came to be where I'm at with my art career. So I have wanted to be an artist since I was 5. I've really never wanted anything else. I went to art school. I went to grad school, got my MFA. Well, I went to school for art. I got my BFA at Central Michigan University, and then I also went on to grad school at an actual art school at Maine College of Art. Now it's Maine College of Art and Design. I got my MFA, and at Maine College of Art, it was nice actually. They did not expect you to specialize in a certain medium. In fact, they didn't want you to. I liked that. They wanted to get you out of your comfort zone. I thought that was great for me because I have been a painter primarily, and I draw also in college and in undergrad especially, but I think also in grad school I just would sketch all the time. I sketched a ton of people actually, which is funny because my paintings in college and afterwards and in grad school, I was on this house theme for the longest time, but I like to sketch people. I guess that's what I would do. We were hanging out with friends and everything. We did a lot of gaming, including live action role playing and D&D and all of that, and at the time it was sort of profoundly unpopular. I mean, it was really a fringe sort of weird thing that we did, that if you weren't a gamer, people just thought you were a weirdo. But it seems to be a lot more popular now, so that's nice, because I sort of had to take a break from it when my kids were little, and now I'm sort of back into it again, and everybody thinks it's cool, so woohoo. How strange. Being a geek, you don't expect to be cool, but things have changed, and that's nice. So where was I going with that? Oh yes, so I wanted to be an artist always. I went to grad school. I got my MFA. I remember actually getting out of undergrad, I was like, great, I've got my BFA. Now what am I going to do? So the first thing I ended up doing was working as a studio assistant for one of my professors. Back in the day, when you put your portfolio together to apply to a show, you didn't have digital files. You had to take slides. So you had to get the special slide film for your camera. It had to be a real camera. There weren't like all these digital cameras back then, or maybe there were, but slides was like, it was the accepted way. It was the what do they call it? It was a standard operating procedure, art slides. And the art reviewer, the gallery director, the curator, whoever was looking at your work, they would view it in a dark room, from what I understand, on a slide projector. So I remember going through that when I would apply to shows, but also when I was a studio assistant for this professor of mine. She would get her slides done, and then there was this stuff called silver tape that you had to apply to the slides around the image to make sure that the image was nice and clean. It was just like nice square image with the silver tape, which would show up as black, and then the image would be nice and crisp and clean. So I did that for a while. I did some modeling for a painting class, same professor. It was sort of excruciating. So hard to stay in the same position for so long. Did sort of that kind of thing. Worked at a deli. Did a bunch of murals, some outside, one in a little girl's room. And then I remember I felt like I hadn't made enough money on the mural. I made like $400, and it was a whole week of just long hours painting all these designs on this little girl's room. It looked amazing. And then the mother said, hey, you know, we could maybe get her bathroom done too if you wanted to do a little more work and make a little more money. And I think I wanted $200 for the bathroom, and she thought I was being completely unreasonable. So that was the end of that. Trying to think. I don't think that was my last muraling job. I remember I did a big one inside the university where I did my BFA. That it took a while, but I was paid well, and I had a good contract where it was supposed to stay up for 10 years. So that contract has expired now, but it was nice. That was a good job. But I think I'm sort of mostly glad to be out of the muraling business. I would maybe do another one, maybe, but the outside ones are difficult, and I don't know, it's a lot of work. It's hard work, and working in your own space is just definitely nicer. I think I'm getting a little lost here. So anyways, I'm gonna try and get back on track. So anyways, I went to grad school. I got out. My husband, we were in Maine. We moved to Maine so I could go to grad school, and he got diagnosed with bipolar disorder while we were out there. So he had 2 different tech support jobs. He had, I think, a couple other jobs, but he got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He went into deep, dark depression because he was away from all his support network, all his friends. He was away from his family, although I don't know how close I could say how much of an effect that had. But in any case, that was what happened. And so he had to get diagnosed. He had to get on medicine that would work for him and help him manage. He was in this little sort of halfway house kind of thing for about a week, working with a psychiatrist, living there with some other folks. I got to visit and everything. And then he did this partial therapy kind of thing at the hospital for a while. Anyways, we realized he wasn't going to be able to work. So after I had gone through all of this trouble trying to get my MFA, and I had this big plan to be an artist and everything, we sort of realized that that I was going to be the breadwinner with my BFA and my MFA. And I did initially try to get into teaching. We did move back to Michigan. It seemed like the thing to do. Maine is really expensive. It's very, very expensive. And it seemed like we were going to have to move out of the city to get a place where we could afford. And it just seemed like if we were going to be moving anyway, maybe we would just move back to Michigan where we knew more people and had more friends. And we sort of thought it would be better for him. We had thought he might get his old job back, which was tech support at the university where we both went. And he did try that, and it didn't work. They eventually sort of declared him completely disabled, just not really able to work a regular job. I had been working at Home Depot, and so I continued to work there. I transferred to Home Depot in Maine when we went to Maine. Kept working there. When I was in grad school, I was able to take time off for the summer intensives and the winter intensive, and I worked part-time. And then when I'm trying to remember when I went full-time again. It could have been right after grad school, or maybe it's when I transferred back. Maybe I transferred back and got a full-time position. I can't quite remember. I've been there forever. Like, it's been 22 years at Home Depot. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that I have been working at Home Depot for 22 years, and during COVID, I took a little time off, not a ton, but they gave us some time, and then for a year after, I'm trying to think, was it 2021 maybe? 2022? One of those 2 years, I was able to work 32 hours a week. So I had taken a couple months off, I think, for 2020 and 2021, and I think 2022, I was able to work a 32-hour week. And that was so nice. And so I was really getting back into my watercolors again, and I was really trying to get serious again about being an artist. And I'm in my 40s. I'm 46. I'm going to be 47 this summer. And it occurred to me that when am I going to do this? I mean, I've wanted to be an artist all my life, and I've sort of been putting it on hold because the kids have been young, and I was trying to spend as much time with them as I could, especially when they were really little. And not that I'm not spending time with them now, but they are more self-sufficient. They have their own agendas. There's generally a lot of gaming on the computer with their online friends, who, some of the friends, they know them in real life, but they live like an hour and a half away. So I don't know why it's so hard to make friends that live close to you. But these days it seems like hanging out with your online friends is just more common anyway. Or you talk to your friends on Facebook, or you talk to your friends on Discord, or maybe you text them, or you instant message them, but maybe getting together with friends just isn't as common as it used to be. I'm not sure. I'm trying to navigate this like everybody else. But in any case, I decided it was time to just give it a try. So I did cut down to part-time at my job maybe a year and a half ago. Last year, got my business license, I got my tax license, I opened a bank account for my art career specifically, and I've just gotten really serious about it. I'm going to really give it a go, and I'm doing all the things. I do art fairs, I do gallery shows, I do these big sort of art contests. Well, there's one anyway, the Art Prize in Grand Rapids. That one, oh, that's awfully dark. That one is a pretty big deal, and I've been in it 2 years in a row, and I'm so excited. I just got a venue for this year, and it's DeVos Place, which is politics aside, it's a pretty great venue. You definitely get a lot of exposure there. So my first year, I got into DeVos Place, and I had this mental health awareness piece, which I had actually shown at Art Walk Central, which is kind of the other art contest thing that I do, and that's local, so that's right in Mount Pleasant, which is just the next town over. But I did well with the piece at Art Walk Central. So it's it's an installation. It's a bunch of medicine cabinets. It's 10 medicine cabinets to be exact, in a row, all lined up, and I stenciled across them the words, "When you look at me, can you tell I'm sick?" And behind the medicine cabinets for Art Walk Central, I did a bunch of poetry. Well, it was my husband's poetry, because this piece has a lot to do with him and mental health awareness. So that's the whole thing. When you look at me, can you tell I'm sick? Well, it's difficult to tell someone's sick when they have a mental health issue, but those mental health issues can be pretty debilitating. And they can, cause you not to be able to work, and they really change your life. So, anyways, this piece, the poetry, right. So he writes poetry, and I did photocopies of all the poetry, and I Mod Podged them to the wall in the gallery. And the gallery director, she looked it up and everything, and she's like, okay, it says it can be removed with soap and water. So I Mod Podged them all on, and it looked so cool. But they did not come off very well. The piece was a big hit. I made it into the top 10. It was super exciting. I got to stand up on the stage at the auction to see who the winner would be. It wasn't me, but it was exciting nonetheless. It was the best I had done in this contest. And anyway, so I decided to do the piece again at Art Prize when I did my first Art Prize, which ended up being at DeVos, which was super prestigious, and I sort of knew it at the time, but I was so new to Art Prize and so nervous about driving into the city. I had a friend go with me the first time, and then she accidentally kind of hurt my car because she was driving, and we were just pulling out of the parking garage, and she was used to her little car and was thinking of its dimensions, and anyways, it was sort of a mess, but it was okay. And she was so good about it. She helped me pay my deductible, which I didn't even expect. She's a good person. She felt like that was the right thing to do. So, anyways, Art Prize. Oh yes, so Art Prize. You are kind of expected as an artist to be on site by your piece. I think especially if you're in a venue as active as DeVos, because a lot of people come through there, and they come through actually expecting to meet and talk to the artist. So they were doing interviews there, and I volunteered for an interview, and I drove out there by myself, and I was super nervous about it. But the more I did this drive, the easier it became. I live in a small village, and I have gotten used to not having to drive in the city. I mean, I've never lived in a city. Well, no, technically, when I was in Maine, I lived in Portland, which is a small city, but the driving is just nothing like it is in Grand Rapids. However, I've got GPS now, so that helps. It just tells me where to go. I listen, and Grand Rapids, in fact, I think most cities in Michigan are like this. You're like driving through farm fields in the countryside, and there's some forest, and then bam, smack, suddenly you're in the city. So, could be worse. Anyways, I need to probably cut this story short because I feel like it's going on forever. But I didn't really hang out by my piece very much because I didn't really understand that that's what you're supposed to do or have the time to take off at the time. I just I did a little bit of that. So this year I'm going to do a similar piece with the medicine cabinets, but I won't have all 10 of them. I'll just have 5. It'll say, "Can you tell I'm sick?" So the medicine cabinets, by the way, I forgot to mention, they're full of prescription bottles, empty prescription bottles that I have to glue in to make sure people don't take them. And so probably all of that will be the same. The banners are going to be there, but I'll use 5 of them instead of 10 because I mentioned the Mod Podge. It was very difficult to get it off the wall. DeVos will not let anything be attached to the wall. They have the hanger system there, so I had to make the banners so they could be hung behind the medicine cabinets. And the medicine cabinets had to be hung also with this wire system. But it looked great. It really did. And people walking by, they can see themselves. So there's just all sorts of stuff going on there. So we'll have the 5 medicine cabinets, we'll have the 5 banners, and the banners will be, the first one will be all the way up, and then the second will be down a little bit, like steps, like stair steps. They're coming kind of down the wall, kind of falling off, sloughing off. And then the bottom, the last one will be, definitely on the floor. Probably the last 2 will be partly on the floor. And then I'm planning to have a giant medicine bottle, a prescription bottle, the you know, the orange with the white cap. At the bottom of the banner, sort of next to the medicine cabinets there, or next to the medicine cabinets, maybe partially on one of the banners that's on the floor. We'll see. When you do an installation, you have to work it out. You have to see what you're doing and figure it out to know exactly how it's going to work. And then I'm thinking I'm going to have a label made for it maybe that just says still here, ... So that's what the piece is going to be called, Still Here, because mental illness is often a chronic thing that goes on for life, and you just have to continue dealing with it. You have to take the meds, you have to do your thing, do your therapy, do, you know, your meditation or whatever it is that you do to keep yourself sane and happy and on this planet. So yeah, so anyways, Art Prize is definitely one of the big things that I'm doing to try to become an artist that can live off of my art. So I hope we're getting there, and lots of times, lots of things that I do, I feel like I'm getting there. So I'm just gonna keep on chugging, and hopefully I'll get there. So thank you all for watching this video with me and coming along with me on my painting journey as we worked on this painting together, and listening to me ramble about my story of attempting to become an artist who can actually make a living. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, maybe share, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Thanks, bye!